I'm Dennis Galucki, and welcome to the 581st Imagine Greater Buffalo program and our 202nd YouTube production, hosted by our wonderful Buffalo and Erie County Public Library and Lifelong Learning Center. We're so glad you've joined us today. It is a special program because it's our final program until September, day after Labor Day. Now, this program is created by the Center for the Study of Art, Architecture, History, and Nature, and, or C-SAAHN as I like to pronounce the acronym, and ImagineLifelongLearning.com. Before we get started, just a little housekeeping. Everyone watching will be muted and your video turned off. If you have a question or comment, please type it into the chat box and we'll go through them at the end of the presentation as time allows. We are recording this program so you can watch it again later on the Downtown Central Library's Facebook page and YouTube channels. And please, we hope you share the link with others. Now on to our featured speaker. Joining us today in anticipation of the Chautauqua Institution's annual Buffalo Day, 15th annual, I might add, is Jill McCormick. Jill is the Director of Communications and Special Projects at the Chautauqua Institution. So let's get started right off the bat and welcome Jill, and tell us a little bit about yourself, Jill, if you can, and Chautauqua and Buffalo Day. Take it away, Jill.
Dennis, thank you so much for having me. As you said, my name is Jill McCormick, Director of Communications and Special Projects at Chautauqua Institution. The job here is an amazing one, and I'm so happy to have this opportunity to not only speak to all of you, but to also share more about Chautauqua and myself to start off with. I spent most of my career as a television news anchor and reporter, most of that time in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is where I still reside, and commute daily to Chautauqua Institution, which is a good point for your viewers as well. We're not as far away as you think. It's not a bad drive and there's no traffic to get here. And the same holds true for the greater Buffalo area. We really are a short drive away for world-class entertainment. So when it comes to Chautauqua Institution, it's the $1 million question. What is Chautauqua Institution if you've never been here before? Well, we were founded in 1874, and last year we had our big 150th anniversary celebration. So a lot of the people here on the ground say this is more of a normal year, but a normal year at Chautauqua is still a pretty fascinating year to take part in. We're made up of 9 weeks during the summer season. It's our summer assembly, and this year it runs from June 21st through August 24th. With 9 weeks making up that summer assembly season. So as I said, we kick off on the 21st, and that is our first night. And our theme that week is Themes of Transformation, Forces Shaping Our Tomorrow. And we're kicking off that week 1 theme with the Counting Crows. So we mix here a lot of different genres. Chautauqua is based on 4 pillars. We were founded on those 4 pillars back in 1874 by our founders, Vincent and Miller. Those pillars are education, religion, education, and recreation. The recreation is pretty easy to understand because obviously we're here on Lake Chautauqua Lake, which is a beautiful asset to Chautauqua County. And we are great stewards of that lake as well when it comes to the health of the lake. It's an important part of our strategic 150 forward plan, not only for Chautauqua Institution, but for Chautauqua County and for lakes across the country and around the world. But with that first opening week, the themes of transformation, you really get an idea of what Chautauqua is all about and why a place like Chautauqua is more important now than ever before. We have a saying here, as long as you are in conversation, you're moving forward. And Chautauqua is all about conversation and dialogue, not debate. But get a gander at the week 1, some of our guests that week. And I'm going to look at my notes so I don't forget anything because it's jam-packed that week 1. We start off, as I said, with our popular entertainment, Counting Crows. That goes to your entertainment and your arts. Then on Monday, June 23rd, and let me back up one day, Dennis, because I know you'll want me to mention this. We have our traditional 3 taps that opens up the Chautauqua season. Traditionally, that's done by the president of Chautauqua Institution. But as most of you know, our president did step down back in March, Michael Hill, to take a job with a university in Virginia. And right now we have an interim president. His name is Kyle Keogh, and he has a great history with Chautauqua Institution. He's been coming here, I believe, since he was 5, and he is from Rochester. His wife is from Buffalo, and he quit his tech job to come here and help the institution for about the next year while we search for the perfect fit when it comes to a new president at Chautauqua Institution. And our board has just started that process over the past couple of months to find the right person to take on the job. But Kyle, he has a deep-rooted connection to Chautauqua Institution. And for Buffalo audience, he's a big Bills fan too, which always helps. He ended his interview yesterday with the Go Bills, so I'll say that too, Go Bills. So let's get back to week 1. We have the opening, the 3 taps on that Sunday, the 22nd, but on Monday, the 23rd, in the amphitheater, we start with our 10:45 lectures. That's something that happens throughout weeks 1 through 9. We have a different theme each week, but every day we have a 10:45 lecture and then a 2 p.m. lecture that is generally in the Hall of Philosophy and has a more religious focus. So you can go both ways. You could come here on any day, and if 2 people came to Chautauqua together, you could have 2 vastly different experiences when you do some of our other things that there are besides lectures. So, but on Monday, June 23rd, we have power couple Mary Matlin and James Carville. I'm sure you've heard of them before. They're going to be talking about transformation in affecting politics and the media today. So pretty timely when you think of it. And these topics and these themes are picked a year in advance because that's how long it takes to program. And somehow every year, Chautauqua seems to just pinpoint what people are talking about today. And that week, themes of transformations is a great point to that. On Tuesday, June 24th, we have Kimberly Strassel. She's a member, of course, of the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. She'll be speaking on themes of transformation about the evolution and future of conservatism. And then we have on Friday, journalist and author Chris Hayes, who I'm sure you've also heard of. He has a show on MSNBC, and he is also an author, and he is going to be talking about the Siren's Call, which explores our attention and has become one of the most valuable and threatened resources in the world today, with his book talking about where journalism is going. So we have that to look forward to on Friday as well. And as I said, we have our popular music, Counting Crows. We have the Wood Brothers on June 23rd, Monday at the amphitheater, and Diana Krall finishes out that week on Friday, June 27th. So that's just 1 week. That's week 1. We have 9 weeks like that, filling up program throughout the summer. And in order to come, you can come for just the day. You can come just for morning lectures and get the morning pass. You can get an evening pass. And you can also just buy a ticket to one of the popular shows. And you can do all of that and access that information at chq.org. That'll direct you in the right place where you can go to buy tickets. It also has lists of these weeks so you can see what's involved. People always ask, what Chautauqua is all about, and I can show them. I would hold it up, but it is a gigantic calendar full of events, and you can look at that calendar at chq.org as well to get a better idea of what we're all about. And people say too, as I said at the beginning, Chautauqua's mission is now more important than ever before. It's a place for reflection. It's a place for dialogue. It's a place for renewal. And it's also a place to explore the best in human values. And it's never been more urgent or more necessary than where we find ourselves in the world today. And I think that's one thing that everybody can agree on, where dialogue has become difficult. And it is encouraged here at Chautauqua, but not debate. And that's what makes the difference. Last year, we had a speech with Kevin McCarthy and Julio Castro, 2 diametrically opposed politically, and they sat on stage together and had one of the most enlightening conversations I've ever been party to. And that's what happens here at Chautauqua, and that's what you can be a part of. I do want to mention too that Sundays are free. You can come on Sunday and bring the whole family. You can come. There are entertainment, there's shows happening, there are concerts happening, there's morning worship happening, and we have a beach, we have pickleball courts, we have golf courses, and we have lots of beautiful restaurant venues on the grounds too as well. We also have a coffee gazebo that just was rebuilt this year and that a lot of people are happy is open once again. And we also have a cinema on the grounds. So you could really come here and have an amazing day. And like I said, no 2 people have the same adventure or experience at Chautauqua. It is what you make of it. We also, too, people don't realize we have a wine bar. We have 3 taps, which is a place that serves beer and different options. And we also have our heirloom restaurant at the historic Athenaeum Hotel, which is a dining experience that we encourage a lot of people to take advantage of, especially if you're coming for a show. If you were to buy a ticket for, say, Counting Crows, which is coming up, and there's still some availability, that ticket gets you in the gates at 4 p.m. The show doesn't start until 8:15, but that ticket gets you in the gates at 4 o'clock. Plenty of time to come, have dinner, stroll the grounds, take a look. You could walk down to the beach. You could just sit on Bester Plaza, go to the Brick Walk and get an ice cream cone. Or you can go to the hotel. There is a bar at the hotel as well and enjoy a drink out on the porch while you wait for the show to start. There's so many things that you can see and do here. And I know for those of you who've been to Chautauqua before, you get it. The minute you walk down the Brick Walk toward the grounds and then Bester Plaza opens up, it really does, pardon me, show you what a magical place this is. And we're talking obviously with the, Buffalo County Public Library. We have a library here as well, which is an amazing place to go and see some of the artifacts from years gone by. You mentioned some of the people who've been to Chautauqua over these years. There's a collection of items from Susan B. Anthony. She's been here before. We had Amelia Earhart land her plane on one of the golf courses. She was here before. We've had Sandra Day O'Connor. We've had authors here. Amy Tan was here last year, the author of the Joy Luck Club. And that doesn't even touch on who's coming this year. So when I talk about week two right now is one that I'm excited for. And it seems like everybody's excited for because a lot of these tickets are selling very well. But week two is called Comedy Now. It's a week curated with Lewis Black in partnership with the National Comedy Center. I'm sure most of you in Buffalo too are familiar with the National Comedy Center, which is in nearby Jamestown. It is a world-class facility as well, and we are partnering this year on this week. And it's a week that keeps getting additions. We just got a new addition this week that I'm excited about, and I'll share with you. But Lewis Black's a longtime friend of Chautauqua. If you saw our documentary from this past spring, Chautauqua 150, All Rise with Wynton Marsalis, Lewis Black was part of that documentary, which you can still watch if you want to know more about Chautauqua. I think it's on PBS Passport. But the week opens we have on Monday, June 30th, we have Lewis Black. He's in conversation with the crew from Pixar. So he has the creative chief officer of Pixar Animation and also the director of Inside Out and Inside Out 1 and 2. And they will be on together talking about Pixar, what it takes, the movies. Lewis Black was a part of Inside Out, so it will be a great conversation there. On Tuesday, July 1st, we have writers and producers from Comedy Central's The Daily Show. I'm sure you have heard of that show as well. They will have us talking about behind the scenes at The Daily Show, sharing how they turn daily headlines into comedy, or at least try to, is what they wrote. I didn't say that most of the time. And on Wednesday, July 2nd, they will be celebrating the legacy of Johnny Carson at 100, featuring a TV critic and also a cultural historian and comedian, Wayne Friedman. If you've been to the Comedy Center in Jamestown, you've seen the large Johnny Carson display. And if you haven't, I encourage you to do so. They have part of the curtain from the original show. They have his cards, his Rolodex cards, which it's very interesting if you haven't been there. But we're going to be bringing that to our stage as well today. Not the actual curtain, but the information. And then on also Wednesday at 2 p.m. or July 2nd at 8:15 in the amphitheater, this would be considered a popular event. So this is one of those examples where you could buy that popular event ticket and come to the grounds at 4 o'clock. It's Lewis Black's The Rant is Due. So this is an opportunity to see Lewis Rant do his stand-up. And then these are the newer additions. On Thursday, we have Paula Poundstone. She's going to be in conversation with Journey Gunderson, who of course is the executive director at the National Comedy Center. That's at 10:45 a.m. on Thursday, July 3rd. And on the 4th of July, I got a little excited about this one when I saw this announced. We have actors Brooke Adams and Tony Shalhoub. They're going to be in conversation with Kelly Carlin. If you recognize that last name, yes, her dad was George Carlin, and she is also an author, storyteller, and television producer, and a good friend of Chautauqua as well. So that is happening at 10:45 on Friday, July 4th. And July 4th here at Chautauqua was a pretty magical day in and of itself. You have the Independence Day fun with the CSO, the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra, celebrating at 8 p.m. on the stage. Now, before we run out of time, because again, that was only 2 weeks, we have 9 weeks of programming, which you can look at on our website, chq.org. But a big day that we want to also talk about here today is Buffalo Day. And this is something, as Dennis said, this is the 15th anniversary for Buffalo Day, and it is happening during week 4. So week 4, let me make sure I get the theme right. That is the week, The Future of the American Experiment, a week in partnership with the American Enterprise Institute and Brookings Institution. So a couple of big hitters, but Buffalo Week is also happening that week, or Buffalo Day, not week. But Buffalo Day is Tuesday, July 15th, and that means you can come for free. If you live in Buffalo or the greater Buffalo area, you can come for free. All you have to do is register online, chq.org. If you can't find it right out of the gate, just put Buffalo Day in the search bar and it'll come up. You can pre-register, and that means that you will be admitted to Chautauqua from 7 a.m. to midnight. And that means if you have zip codes 14201 through 14280, you will be admitted free to Chautauqua. And if you register in advance, parking is free too. So you want to make sure that you order in advance for Buffalo Day. That is on July 15th. This is a perfect day if you haven't been before to come check us out and see what we're all about. And we'll talk a little bit more when Dennis is back about his plans for Buffalo Day, because he has some great guests about creating Reading Rainbow, the untold story of the beloved children's series with the authors. So that is a big part of Buffalo Day, but it gets you into everything that day. So you can come and see the 9:15 a.m. worship service that happens every day. That day we have the Reverend Dr. Frank Yomanda. He will be taking the stage at 9:15. Our guest lecturer at 10:45 a.m. We have Michael O'Hanlon and Corey Shockey. They will be talking. At 10:35 in the Hall of Christ, we have a Buffalo Day event, the Erie Canal 200, a lifelong learning experience. And at 2:15, we have a Buffalo Day talk. And at 4:45, that is when we'll have our Buffalo Day speakers as well. And that night at 8:15, you can finish the day off with the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra and their program, Romantic Elegance. And that's just scratching the surface. Those are just the scheduled events. There are so many other things happening. And when you look at our website, chq.org, you can just simply look at that day and see the vast amount of opportunities for young and old. We have events for kids. We have events for adults. You can rent a scooter if you have a problem in terms of walking. But the best advice I have, and Dennis, I think I'll throw it to you here pretty soon for some questions and answers, is wear comfortable shoes. Because when you do come here, we ask you park in the main lot, and then you'll simply walk across the street and walk in that main gate, and then your magical day at Chautauqua Institution begins. And it's even more magical, Dennis, right? When you don't have to pay for it.
You can say that again, and I trust we've said it as many times as we can. Jill, thank you. And you know, it's always the thing that I've heard about Chautauqua. Try your best to describe it. And if you had 10 people, you'd get probably about 11 or 12 different descriptions at least.
Exactly.
So you almost.
How do you describe Chautauqua?
You know, as a lifelong learning center, and rooted in those 4 pillars that you mentioned. And that's been a structural thing. Think of a house. Typically, it's got 4 corners to it. You build something from the basement and up you go. And that's what Chautauqua's done now for 150 plus years this year. And it starts around art and education, and then it brings in religion and recreation, and it ties these 4 together. So it's not one thing, but it's the blend of it. It's like pieces of a color of a puzzle that you put together, and then you experience it, and that'll be uniquely you.
Right. And we've said people can come here and have a completely different experience. You know, you may only want to touch on 2 of the pillars, and that's fine.
Yep. And that, I mean, just the way you described the day, there's a worship service if you want to go to that. There's a library at the center if you don't want to go anyplace and just hang out, because truly your Smith Memorial Library was part of the inspiration for this whole idea, which I called a Buffalo Chautauqua idea. And our own library then, and realizing that libraries are really the center of a community if they're seen that way. And more, the libraries are starting to see themselves not just as a building with a collection of books to loan out, but as centers of communities. And that's that to me. I had your director Scott speak a few years back on the role of the Smith Memorial Library in Chautauqua on just that subject, being the center, what that means year long, not just during the summer. So,
Well, Dennis, I failed to mention too, I know you are hosting a walk that starts at the library, and it dawned on me I didn't mention that part of Buffalo Day.
thank you. It's timely too. I come out of a Christian faith, Catholic tradition, and I read Pope Francis when he 10 years ago wrote a document called Laudato Si, but it means in care of our home. And it was an environmental piece written to the planet. It wasn't to Catholics or Christians, it was to everybody. And in it, he said, we've got to reimagine education. And in doing so, you start by seeing beauty. And that really stuck with me. So I've created a Seeing Beauty initiative because I said, what makes in Buffalo a Frank Lloyd Wright Martin House draw people from all over the world? How did it excite the locals to actually start and finish something with tremendous volunteer support? It's beautiful. And literally I thought, what were the pillars? Like Chautauqua has pillars. Well, what made it beautiful? And I came up with art, architecture, history, and nature. And it was the blend of those four elements. So literally, you can see the layered approach, but that walk that you mentioned is really, for the first time, we'll do it just from 10 to, let's say, 10:15, 10:20. I invite people to see beauty, maybe go for a walk in the park, or we just did it at Pentecost last Sunday, a week or so ago, because that was the 10th anniversary of that document. And I wanted to mark that. So after church services here in Buffalo at a couple of churches, Saturday and Sunday, I led a walk, and we just invited people to tell us what beauty they saw. I record these and have recorded them for the last 9 years and upload them to Internet Archive. So there's an audio archive of people stopping and describing beauty. They will have no problem doing that in Chautauqua, Buffalo Day. They just stand still outside the library and look around. And it'll come out in different forms, from weather to trees to colors to interactions with people, and it'll come out.
Part of Buffalo Day. I mean, we have so many things planned, and I know we're talking about the Reading Rainbow and your guests that you've lined up for that. But also, I failed to mention week 7 is Kwame Alexander and Friends, and on August 4th is LeVar Burton, the host of Reading Rainbow. So that just shows you the expanse. We also have Morgan Freeman coming up. So it's like, I encourage people to look at that chq.org for our full list, but especially for Buffalo Day, it's really broken down in terms of what all is happening in that day and how you get your tickets. So a lot of excitement to hear more about the Reading Rainbow on Buffalo Day as well.
And that's our centerpiece. That's again at 4:45 to 5:45 at the end of the afternoon. And we're going to show the reimagining a Buffalo landmark video. And the person who put it together for what was then WNED, but now Buffalo Toronto Public Media, Lynn Bader, will give us the backdrop as the producer of that and of that video, half-hour video. And we are right now in the midst, and it's central to the creation of Chautauqua, and I'd argue America. And that's the celebration of the Erie Canal. It's the 200th anniversary of it, completed finally in Buffalo, the terminus, in 1825. And we have a project from the Maritime Center of a community parents and their kids coming together to build a replica of the Seneca Chief that will redo the original travels of that Seneca Chief to New York City, and the wedding of the water ceremony will be replicated this fall. But you're going to hear that story, a lot of beautiful visuals of what they plan to do, stopping it all along the road on the Erie Canal at all the towns that were created in New York State, to Albany and down to down the Hudson River to New York City. So that's going to be part of our day as well. And golly, how can you say it enough times? And I'll repeat the zip codes. There are 44 zip codes between 14201 and 14280. All those families in those zip codes are free for a day at Chautauqua. And
free parking if you pre-register.
You're right. You're right. Why wouldn't you do that? And it helps you. And more importantly, if you can't go for whatever reason, you've got family members that can. Make sure you tell them. That's the best I can help use this, show them this video, point them to the website.
Well, and Dennis, I'll tell you how many people who don't live in Buffalo and live in other areas. Like I said, I live in Erie, Pennsylvania, and they're like, why don't we have an Erie PA day? And I said, well, we don't have a Dennis.
Thank you very much. Thank you. But it certainly could be.
People just need to realize how lucky they are that this is even an opportunity, or, you know, it's such a great chance to come see Chautauqua, and it's not a far drive at all.
Well, you know, you also said something that I don't think I've ever said out loud, but to my knowledge, this is the only city connected with Chautauqua to have their day. And that's I appreciate you mentioning that. And again, those zip codes get you out beyond the actual city limits. Doesn't include everybody, you know, some communities, but it is an attempt to define the people. We had to come up with a way of measuring it so you could double check. So folks, take advantage of it. It is really the best I can say. Now, let's leave it open for a few minutes to see what types of questions we might have. Hazen, do we have any?
We do not have any audience questions at this time, but I was just on Chautauqua Institution's website and I'm looking at the upcoming exhibition. It'll open in a few days on the 22nd, called Crafting Home. All sorts of fabulous furniture items. Have you seen any of these items yet?
I have not yet. This time of year, this week, I've been lucky if I can leave my office. So I look forward to getting out on the grounds starting Saturday when things calm down a little bit and the season starts and then we get into motion. But it looks amazing to me. I can't wait to see it.
Awesome.
And you know, Hazen, you brought up a good example too. I mean, we have so much shopping on the grounds too. We have gallery stores, we have an art store, we have the bookstore, which is an amazing collection of books, but also tchotchkes and Chautauqua items. And we have clothing stores, we have a spa, we have the St. Elmo Spa. I mean, you could really literally make any kind of day here that you want, just depending on your interests.
Awesome.
Any others?
That's it for now.
You know, I picked this week because it is important. It's if we see America as an experiment, then it becomes a place, but it's also an idea. And I've been reading lately how our folks that were living here in the 18th century before the Revolutionary War, after the war, got to the Constitution and saw it as an idea. And that's so important that we see Chautauqua as a place, but really an idea, a unique idea. There's just no other like it in the country. So it's not just another place to see the folks that are Sunday talk show people live. That's nice. That's good. But it's something to experience.
Well, like you said too, we have those benches on Buster Plaza where people just sit and start having conversations. You know, you meet new people. That's what Chautauqua was about. And again, it's hard to explain until you come here. And if anyone has any questions, I know you said there could be some folks watching this later after today. My email is jmccormick, McCormick @chq.org. Shoot me an email. I am happy to answer any and all questions and send you information, put you in the right direction. We have places to stay on the grounds too. If you decide to make it even more than just a day, it's a lovely place and a beautiful vacation spot if you want to make it that as well. I mean, we have people who come here for the whole 9 weeks. We have people who come for a week. It is what you want to make of it. But especially a Buffalo Day when it's free, how do you not come and try it?
How do you not? And I'll emphasize that distance. It's really a fairly easy drive down the thruway for the most part, and then you cut off, and an hour and a half later, you're physically on the grounds. A wonderful
easy drive
right across the street, and again for Buffalo Day, register early, and the parking is free. So make that decision now.
Right, it's easy.
It is easy, and I think it's a day trip for many, and then you'll find you do want to spend a week and more maybe down the road. But start with the day, and why not Buffalo Day as a good introduction. So I think we'll wrap it up unless you got some last minute questions. It's special, folks, and all I can do is encourage you to look into it if you've never have. Most people have been to Chautauqua, and it feels, I always wanted to make it just an extension of Buffalo, hence the Buffalo Chautauqua idea. Just see it kind of out in the suburbs a little bit further, but not that far, and build it into your summer schedule, especially.
Final word then today can be those of our interim president. Go Bills.
Go Bills. Can't lose with saying that in our neck of the woods. And it shows you the regional approach. I do have one more question. Do you get many folks from Southern Ontario, Toronto, that large market that I would think would be a gold mine to make sure we try to tap into? In part, Buffalo Day was to say, well, come to Buffalo, and then I'll move you down a little further to Chautauqua.
We do. I think I heard, and don't hold me to this, that Canada can make up about 10% of our census during the summer. There are a lot of folks. This year, though, as in many places with this relationship right now, those numbers are not as high, and people are not traveling for their own reasons.
Well, that day will come back in.
Being that I am half Canadian, I can understand why.
Well, Chautauqua was lucky to have a very professional person like yourself giving this message, because it's out there to be given. And I think Chautauqua made great strides with his past president, Michael Hill, to move it, move the ball forward. And now it's time for somebody new to move it and see itself almost as a place and a network with an idea and content to help show that idea and help people experience it one-on-one.
We're in good hands with Kyle right now. He's a wonderful man, and he has a passion for Chautauqua, and we're lucky to have him while the board can search for that right replacement. So stay tuned.
Jill, thank you very much for winding up our at least winter spring season here at the Imagine Greater Buffalo program. And folks, thank you again for your support. You make this happen. This is our 16th season of doing this, and we'll take the summer off and enjoy Chautauqua primarily. So we'll be there every Monday at 4 o'clock in the library with my Art of Investing class. It's pretty popular. It's been going on for 15 years itself. So if you're in Chautauqua on a Monday, please join us at the library at Chautauqua, the Smith Memorial Library. So I think that's enough for now. We'll sign off and simply wish everyone good well-being and good health during the summer season. I'm Dennis Galucki. Be well and good day.